All right, so let's start the webinar of today. So first of all, thank you guys for being here, for giving us your hour on this busy Thursday morning in this busy times of the year. So thank you for that. Let's see. Yes, so a little hello from our side. So what are we here for today? Of course, you've seen our advertising and our marketing message. So we wanted to share a little bit how we have changed our approach to advertising and performance marketing due to the changing forces in the marketplace. So in the last 2 years, a lot has happened, and we needed to adapt our advertising approach in order to stay on top and to make sure that our clients are still successful, as it was a little bit easier in the years 2019, 2020. So we've come up with some strategies, some tips and tricks to adapt to that. And that's what we're going to share in the first part. One of those pieces is first-party data. That segues perfectly into Sarah, her section. So Sarah is also here from Klaviyo, where she's going to talk about Klaviyo and what you can do with Klaviyo and why you should be using a tool like Klaviyo. To tie it then at the end all together, like we formulated a strategy on how you can use all the tips and Klaviyo to win with the coming holiday season period, more specifically Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So your host today, I'm going to let Sarah introduce herself.
Thank you, David. Hi, everyone. Super happy to have this webinar today about this specific topic. So I am working on in Klaviyo in the partnership team. So I'm based in London. And I have a background in digital marketing. So I used to work in an agency. And prior to that, I used to be in the Google team on the advertising side. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks, Sarah. So my end, my name is David van den Bossen. I'm the co-founder of Landing Partners. So Landing Partners, a little bit about Landing Partners itself. We're a performance marketing agency that's specialized in the fashion and lifestyle niche. And at the moment, we're servicing over 30 brands in Europe, mostly in France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. This is a small selection of some of the brands we work with. Some of you might recognize your logo in there. And as you can see, we have a very niche focus, and this allows us to gain very specific market information. And we even make aggregated data boards that can show trends in the fashion and lifestyle market. So that's really nice. We also share that with our clients. So that allows us to see industry trends and knows what's working before anyone else does, in order to steer our clients into the right direction. So that's a little bit about ourselves. Let's get down to the topic of the day. All right, so as I talked about, we've formed this webinar to talk about the challenges in the marketplace and how we react to it, so how you can react to it as well. As said, 2022 is not an easy year for e-commerce. We've done some research and found some articles which we'll link when we share you the recap of the webinar, and they're stating that in Europe, the drop in online sales in general for Q1 was minus 13%, minus 2.3% during the July sales period. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of our customers, and especially the one that only sell online. They're seeing a quite a big drop in regards to 2020, 2021, which kind of makes sense. But some people expected a boom after COVID. Well, that certainly didn't happen. In the middle, you also see that there's a 20% growth in buy now, pay later, BNLP in short, which could mean that, or for me, it does show that people are really paying more attention onto where they're and how they're spending their money, keeping as liquid as possible and spreading open their money spent when they make a purchase. So that's what buy now, pay later does. Something that's also very much on the rise is buy in 3 times. You can do that with Klarna. So this really shows us a little bit what the sentiment is. And of course, especially in Belgium, in the news, in the media, for the last 6 months, they've only been talking about inflation, your money becoming less worth, the gas bill that's going to come in the mailbox soon, that it's going to be crazy. So people are just not spending like they used to in the past, or in the past 2 years at least. And then on top of that, in 2021, we had the iOS 14 changes, which just made the whole advertising ecosphere less powerful. The platforms such as Meta, they're now getting less data, which means that your lookalike audiences are less powerful, which means that your remarketing is less powerful. And that's really something we've seen the effects from. I think it's really started showing up in our accounts in June 2021, and like very apparent, a very apparent drop in performance vis-a-vis 2020, 2021. Then also what we've been seeing since like a year or so is that organic reach, mainly on Instagram, is going down. They're favoring certain types of content, and if you as a brand are not making those types of content and just doing the same as you were in the past, you're also getting less organic reach on those platforms. And next to that, people are just also less on their phones than during the pandemic. So this means that people are spending less in general. You're getting less eyeballs on your organic accounts, so that means less traffic, less sales. So we need to react in a certain way. And so that's my point. Advertising is not the same game we played in 2021. Is all lost? Well, no. We're working on a day-to-day basis with all our clients, and we've formulated some tips. Of course, there's a lot to talk about on this topic, but we've tried to boil it down to 5 tips in order to get your paid advertising back into shape. All right. Tip number 1 is make sure you don't rely on paid advertising to begin with. We see it so often that brands come to us with almost no sales online organically, and then expect an agency to slap 4,000-5,000 euros per month in advertising budget, and then all of a sudden 10x their revenue. Well, that's really not how it works. Advertising, and especially online advertising, is a leverage system. It needs data. It needs data points in order to make those connections for your brand, in order to find new customers that are interested in your brand. And also, if you don't have organic sales to begin with, probably you have some other work that needs to be done before you start thinking about hiring an agency or spending lots of money on online ads. Now, there is a little caveat to that. If you do have some web engagement, some engagement on your socials, and some online traffic on your store, and already some sales, then you could be enabling some remarketing campaigns and try to build up your advertising funnel that way. And but don't spend too much money on the top of the funnel on the new people acquisition. That will probably not work out for the best. So really focus on your organic first, get that into shape, make sure that your online is getting sales without an agency, without lots of ad spend, and then you can move to the next step. Tip number 2 is you really need to be adapting your messaging towards the customer journey. And that's something, of course, we're not the only ones that say that. It's general marketing, but it's very much true in your online advertising as well. And so this is the funnel we all know. Top of the funnel, middle and bottom of the funnel. So tofu, mofu, bofu, and then past customers. You really need to be adjusting your advertising message towards the people that are in those parts of the funnel. Top of the funnel is don't talk about yourself. They will not be interested in your brand or in what you are. They will be interested in what you have to offer to the person that's scrolling on Facebook or Instagram. Talk about them. Talk about how your brand can answer to their desires or solve a problem that they might have. So that's top of the funnel. Middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, they have already engaged with you. There you can go a little bit more brand or product specific, talk about how you can solve their problem with which products or which types of services. And then in past customers, you want to reconvert those people. So talk to them as if they are really actually past customers. And We have some examples of that here. So these two brands, you can find all the ads of all brands that are advertising online on the Facebook ads library. So this is not confidential information. Everybody can find everybody's ads. So maybe that's also a little nice tip. So, but back on topic, top of the funnel here. This one is in Dutch. It's talking about, do you want the glowing skin in 6 weeks? Well, if you're somebody that's in the market for that, probably that this will speak to you. Yes, I would like a glowing skin. And then they talk a little bit about the brand, but the header is really about, okay, what can we do for you? Same here for roses. Start today with an outfit full of confidence. If you don't know the brand, this might be a message that talks to you or that appeals to your desire. Top of the funnel, we go a little bit more product focused here. We show a product carousel. Here we go a little bit more on the type of clothing that the brand has to offer. And in the hot phase, so people that already have went to a product page, you can show them pictures of the product that they've seen and maybe nudge them a little bit towards that sale by giving them a welcome discount. Those are all best practices on funnel messaging. Past customers, hey self-lover, talk to them as if they're a brand, as if they are a customer, because they are. This is a nice video that's welcoming them to the club. Everybody that's a first-time customer of this brand gets to see this video. Something we could do with custom targeting and also with Klaviyo, but we're going to talk about that a little bit further down the line. And then these two brands also talk to their customers in the same way. All right. So on the point of copywriting, we also have a copywriting cheat sheet. So if you don't really know or are not very experienced in copywriting, we have like a bullet list of points you need to be looking out for, such as top of the funnel, don't talk about yourself, talk about what you can actually mean for the prospect, how you can answer their desires, a whole bunch of tips, and we'll be sending that out with the webinar recap as well. Tip number 3. So the creative now more than ever is everything. And this is very much true. As the platforms are getting less powerful, you need to be working on the 2 variables that you can control. And what can you control? That's actually the copywriting and the creative. And so people are getting less sensitive to ads that look like ads. For example, the newest platform on the block is TikTok. There, you really cannot advertise with the ads that you were advertising with in the past few years on Facebook and Instagram. If you have an ad that looks like an ad there, it will get 0 engagement, 0 clicks, nothing. The other way around is very much true though. So if you have an ad that works well on TikTok, it probably will work well on Facebook and Instagram.
Just
so
go ahead. Sorry, David. Yeah, just to add on this point, and give a bit more metrics probably as well. Like I remember a few years ago when I was in the YouTube team, they were already saying that, for example, the video, they were like, the quality of the video was already 80% of the performance of the campaign. Obviously, with now what's happening with iOS on Facebook is the same. The creative is super important, probably between 50 and 80% of the performance of the campaign will come from the quality of the ad. Plus, the ad is actually aging very fast sometimes. So depending on how much you're going to put audiences and budget, sometimes you probably need to change the ads like every 2-3 weeks for like very fast campaigns. So yeah, definitely a point to remember. Sorry. No,
thank you, sir. It's very much true. If you are a shitty advertiser, but you get handed great creatives, probably you'll be successful. You'll have success. So yeah, that's very much true. Thanks for that, Sarah. All right. This is just one ad that I wanted to show. I just stumbled on this week, and just want to share this one with you. I think you should be able to hear it.
How much did you pay for that workout gear?
It's to give some context. It's a clothing brand that's focused on classics, so white t-shirts, polos, whatever. And now they just also came out with sportswear, and this is their ad for cold acquisition, so top of the funnel. They bring in some humor in their advertising, and it works really well. After I've seen this ad, my performance marketing geek in myself came out, and I went out and I did some research, and the brand I will show it in the next slide, actually grew from 0 to 150 million in yearly revenue in under 3 years. Of course, it's an American brand, so their target market is a little bit bigger than we have here in Europe, if you would look at the countries in specific. But it shows, and he really said in some podcasts as well, that once they changed their advertising and found out the format that worked to their custom audience, then it was just off to the races. And so just another point that emphasizes the importance of good creative. So I'll just play the video here.
Hey, check it out. How much did you pay for that workout gear?
Over $200.
Oh my God, I spent like a third of that. I think mine looks just as good.
Well, you have skinny legs.
Don't you talk about my skinny legs, you son of a
I'm sorry. I just can't handle the fact that you got that activewear for a third of the price. And you look damn good in it.
Hey. It's true classic activewear. There's no annoying logos, it's moisture wicking, and it fits just like the normal shirts. There's plenty to go around.
All right, so, oops. Oh, all right, okay. So just to make my point here, I know that a lot of you brands will not be able to make this type of advertising because it's not on brand, but this is really how they scaled their business, and just to show you the importance of good creative. And I actually bought some t-shirts after this for research purposes, so it might work. All right. Just to go a little bit further on the creative, nobody likes a boring ad. Just showed you a video. Video is super important. We have another one of our tips is specifically about how to use video in your advertising strategies. But images really still work. So don't only focus on videos. Still try to produce good images. Some tips that I can give here is make sure that the colors pop, that there is a model in there that's taking the attention. We have a creative Bible that really outlines every piece of content that a fashion or lifestyle brand can or should produce, with tips and tricks on how to produce them and what to look out for and what not to do. So in this piece of content, we go a little bit deeper on that, and it will also be shared to you guys. All right, tip number 4, you need to change the way you look at the data. So in the past, and even in a lot of sales calls that we have with new brands, there's a lot of talk on ROAS. So what is the ROAS that you're getting? What is the ROAS you can get us, right? And I really want to put that into the past a little bit, because it's simply not important anymore. With all the data that we've lost, the metric doesn't mean anything. So what we're now shifting towards is focusing on MER. So that's media efficiency rate. And that's basically a metric that shows you the total revenue on the total paid media spent. If you're just advertising, if you're just beginning with advertising, that metric will not teach you a lot, but it's highly interesting if you're a brand that's been advertising for a couple of years now, to look into the past, calculate your media efficiency rate, and then make projections into the future and look at, okay, in 2020, I spent the same amount of ad budgets. My media efficiency rate was this. How are we doing it now? Are we efficient? Should we be spending more or less budget? So that's what we're doing now for brands. And that's also what we're using to project, for example, how much budget we need to spend in Q4 in order to get to our revenue goals. Another thing that I mentioned here is our rule of thumb. If you're under a ×10 media efficiency rate, and this depends very much on the business. So if you have very high margins, then your media efficiency rate can be a little bit lower. But in general, ×10 is a good metric to define whether, or to find out whether you're performing or not. If you're under ×10, then so that means that if you're spending 1,000, you should have 10,000 euros in top level revenue. If you're under that, probably you need to fix something. It's either your ads or on the web shop front. And this is a little example to showcase that if you're spending 10,000 euro on Meta and it's bringing you 30,000, you have a Meta ROAS of 3, on Google 2.5, and it's a revenue of 5, it's a ROAS of 2, total ROAS is 2.8, and the total revenue of 120,000 on your total advertising budget gives you an MER of 9.6. So this is the metric that we're going to be looking at the most to make high-level decisions based on, okay, is the ad spend that we're putting into place, is it producing the results that we want to see? And we're not necessarily going to be focusing too much anymore on the ROASs inside the specific ad accounts, just because at minimum, we're losing 20 to 30% of the real data there. All right. Another tip that goes hand in hand with this is if you're a brand that's spending a lot of money online, let's say over 10,000 euros per month, and you're spending on Google, TikTok, and Meta, Facebook, and Instagram. So you have multiple channels, and you're on Shopify. There is a tool that's called Triple Whale that groups all your data together and can give you a full picture or like the most realistic picture of where your sales are coming from and what a more realistic ROAS could be. So this is a very nice tool, and we use it for a couple of customers to gain insights and to make better decisions, not focusing on the ROAS inside the ad accounts. Tip number 5, and it's probably the most important one. It starts to implement a first-party data mindset. So maybe to start off with, what's first-party data? That's really data that you own. And how can you own data? And this segues into Sarah's part. It's by using tools like Klaviyo that collect data on your customers. So emails on the first hand, sales, revenue per customer. Klaviyo also collects data on which products the customer views, if he did an add to cart, if he did a checkout, how many emails they've opened. So that's really first party data. It's data that you can physically download from your system and own. Then together with that point of a first party data mentality, or mindset, there's also second party data, and that's data that the platforms still have for 100%. And we'll go into that in the next slide. That's video views, click-through rates, engagement, all the things that happen on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google. So that's second party data. And it's by leveraging these two data pieces that you can still give a little bit more power to the platform. And I'll show you how in a second. So for example, I've talked about video views. There is a campaign conversion objective in Meta that can optimize on getting the most video views within your audience. It's the video views conversion. We use this with very quality video content to get to form audiences of people that have viewed your video for more than 3 seconds for more than 25%. And as you can see here, and this is a comparison of a video views campaign, how much it costs us to reach 1,000 people in comparison to a conversion campaign. And a conversion campaign, these two are going for sales, so for on-website purchases, and this one is going for video views. So you can see it's 10 times more expensive for this one at least to reach 1,000 people to go for conversions than it is to reach 1,000 people to show your video to. And here the 2.5 illustrates that. It's 24 for the conversion. Here it's 16. But so it's a lot cheaper to reach those people. And why is that? It's because Facebook prefers, of course, that their scrollers, their audience stays on Facebook or Instagram. So if you can show them a video and if Facebook knows, okay, they're not wanting a click or they're not wanting a sale outside of our platform, they will show it to way more people than you actually can by using another conversion goal. Now, how are we actually going to get sales then with this as well? Because that's still the end objective. It's by making a custom audience of people that watched your video that you're using in this video views campaign for a certain percentage. So let's say 75% or more. Then you really know that those people, if you have like a 1-minute video, that they're really interested in your product. They watched almost the entirety of your video, and they could be categorized as a warm or a hot audience because they've showed that they're very interested. And this is a campaign here that we've set into place for this customer to remarket people that have watched a certain percentage of those videos in here. And you can see that this is over a period of last 7 days. It's getting a 10 ROAS. I don't want to look at that anymore, but so in reality, it's going to be a little bit more, but it's getting sales. And if it's even showing up here, probably it's getting even more sales in reality. So this is a strategy that works really well for businesses beauty businesses that have a problem that can solve a problem for their customers, or more service-based businesses. In that regards, it's really interesting to them. So I think I have some more information here. Yeah, this is what I just explained. So coming back to the point of the first-party data mentality, this is an example of using data that Facebook still has in order to make an audience of people that are very interested in order to get sales. So you're not relying on the algorithm that has lost its power to find people in thin air. You're really creating an audience of interested people and remarketing to them using the data that they still own. So I want it to be really clear. Another example is by gathering leads on Facebook. So you can run Facebook on Facebook lead ads. And that's actually something we implement for all our clients in a sort of evergreen way where it just runs throughout the year. We're collecting leads. For example, for a fashion client, it could be sign up for the newsletter and get 10% off. We're getting very cheap leads actually with this. It's then automatically synced to Klaviyo, where they get into a separate welcome flow to nurture them, to show what your brand's about. Another way to get cheap first-party data from a data that Facebook still has. So
to add on this, David, so you were mentioning the quality as well of the leads sometimes we get from the forms on Facebook. So the biggest point here, and related to the challenges of iOS, is also the audiences that the form campaign is going to use to attract people. And in the reverse, you can actually use as well Klaviyo to purge the audiences you're going to use for your form and make sure you're showing the form only to the highest value prospects. So we're going to see that after. But just to give you also a perspective of like the product roadmap on the Facebook side as well, they do push a lot the form. Why? Because of the challenges the platform has with the audiences and the data. This is the way for you to get your first party data and to actually own this data and emails about your customer and then do things after. So that's definitely going to be a format that's going to grow in importance and are going to be pushed inside the platform.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's a good point of the quality. And Sarah is going to come back on that. If you run this top of the funnel, you will get a lot of junk leads. So, or at least without specific targeting or lookalike targeting. We're going to go deeper in that. We use this in a middle of the funnel step. So, where people are already engaged with your brand, but they're not necessarily showing more interest. And here we're getting a little bit better quality leads than just showing it to new people. So maybe also a little tip on that end. All right. So those are actually two examples of using Facebook data. So actually second party data in this first party data strategy. You can also use Klaviyo, so your own data, in order to juice up your advertising campaigns. And some examples are by using Klaviyo segments in your top of the funnel exclusions. So just to make sure that your top of the funnel only exists of people that have never connected to your brand. So we're using Klaviyo data as well to exclude people from the top of the funnel. In the middle and the bottom of the funnel, we're including people. And in the past, customers were using the customer list to also target Facebook ads to a Klaviyo customer list and to give some juice to the past customer campaigns as well. So an example of how this looks like in action. So if you're on the Klaviyo dashboard and you go to lists and segments, then you'll see a complete overview of all the segments and the list that you've made. For example, this one here, the product page viewers 14 days. It's set up based on a metric that Klaviyo has and on which it collects its data. View the product at least once in the last 14 days. So those are product page viewers. So in the marketing lingo, those are people that are possibly very interested in your product. Then using the Facebook integration, we can sync that audience to a Facebook custom audience. So you're selecting a segment, linking it to a Facebook custom audience, and it will then pop up in your audience list when you're making an ad set. And for example, this one, it's our bottom of the funnel on Belgium, people that have viewed content, so product pages in the last 14 days. We're using website data. This is the Facebook pixel data. So the one that suffered in the last 2 years because of the iOS changes. And then when we're enriching it with a Klaviyo audience of people that viewed products in the last 14 days. So this is actually something I haven't seen a lot of advertisers talk about the strategy, but it's fairly interesting, and we've seen some positive results already by feeding a little bit of the data that you own back into the platform. While in the past we would just rely on the pixel data, on the Facebook data. Now we need to be a little bit creative and hand Facebook a little bit more data. So that was those were our 5 points on how you should get your paid advertising back into shape. I think if you act on a couple of these 5 points, you're already going to the right direction. But just to have a little recap, number 1 was organic is the key to paid success. Now more than ever, you need to be adapting your messaging to the customer journey. The creative is everything. Change the way you make budget optimization decisions. So stop focusing on the ROAS on the platform, but look at your results on an MER or on a really high level basis, and adopt a first party mentality. All right. Are there any small intermediary questions on that already? You can pose them in the chat. We'll just have a little breather here before we go into Sarah's section. If not, that's okay. We have a Q&A section at the end. So
yeah,
Sarah, I think we can continue.
We're gonna slowly move to the next part then. Lovely. So just to make the link with what David just showed to us. So we have a lot of challenges on the advertising side, and we need to think a bit differently about our marketing mix right now. So the question to ask yourself is, what is the percentage of revenue you're getting from advertising? Is this percentage high? What is the split with the other channels? So here we're going to focus more on like the direct channel and the email channel as well. And is this value maximized? Do you maximize the revenue you're getting from the other channels that you own? So that's the first thing. The second thing is David talked about the MER, so the profitability about what you're spending on ads versus what you're getting in your Shopify or any CMS you're using. But there is another even more important metric to this new game, let's say, and it's the lifetime value of a customer. So just to remind maybe what it is, because we're going to talk about this metric a lot in the next slides. It is the value that a customer is bringing you in his lifetime. So let's say the customer is new for the last 10 months. How much revenue did he bring to your business for the last 10 months? Because if you only calculate your return on investment about the first purchase is made, but not about all the other purchases going to make after, it's not as relevant. So we're going to try to see as well how we can use your first party data and a tool like Klaviyo jointly with the advertising to increase this lifetime value. So here for the next slides, we're going to see why we're shifting focus towards the customer first party, how to manage your customer data using Klaviyo, examples of segments and automation to use Klaviyo. And I'm going to show you a bit of some examples of Meta and Google Ads integration with Klaviyo as well, and what we can do with it. So on to the next slide. If you are a fast growing brand online, your marketing mix probably looks similar to this one. You have three main pillars. First one being third-party marketplaces, maybe you do that, or paid acquisition. The last one, customer-first marketing, is where you are working on growing your actually current customer base. So the first two pillars, and all the pillars are very important, obviously, but the two first pillars are very interesting to get some volume, get some traffic on your website, reach and discovery, okay? If you only work on the existing customers you have, you're never going to reach as many new people because those platforms, they just have an incredible reach. So that's good. But once you have all this data of all these existing customers that have made one purchase on your website, it's very important to work on them to maximize their value they can bring over maybe a year time for your business. So when you are a brand that needs to scale, where you've done so much acquisition already, and you're trying to, you start to see that your cost of acquisition online, for example, on Facebook or on Google, is increasing because maybe you've reached this ceiling of people that are very likely to buy on your business. That's where it's the time to work more on your own data. And that's when you need to start thinking about different metrics: lifetime value and return on investment, data about your customers, brand awareness and loyalty, but also customer retention, sustainable growth flywheel, feedback loop for improvement. And all those topics are going to help you to grow revenue on existing customers. And that said, to focus on customer-first marketing strategies, you need to own your data. So it needs to be first-party data. And the first-party marketplaces and the paid acquisition don't give you the control or the ownership on this data. So you need to own it through the emails you're collecting as well. Okay. So on the next slide, to give you just a sense also of the potential of your first-party data and the existing customer you have already, 60 to 70%, that's actually the chance of selling to an existing customers. And usually I'm trying to make the audience guess what's the number for new prospect, but here we have it. Between 5% to 20% is actually the probability to selling to someone who doesn't know your brand, to a new prospect, okay? So question to ask yourself again, are you pushing enough the work you're doing on your current customers? Do you think they could buy more on your website on a year space? If they do, you're probably interested to see also what we can do with in the Klaviyo space. So just as a reminder, customer-first marketing is a strategy that puts the wants and the desire of your customer behind every experience you create. David was showing before how you can adapt with the different strategy, tofu, mofu, bofu, the ads that you're showing to the customers or to the prospects. Here with Klaviyo, we're going to even go deeper in these personalizations using different flow and marketing automations to make sure our communication is adapted to every single stages of the customer journey. So then to introduce Klaviyo, because I'm not sure everyone is familiar with the tool, 3 things to remember: storage of a CRM, analysis of a CDP, so a customer data platform where you put all your customer data, and marketing automation. So that's really a mix. And here you see this drawing where you can really understand like where Klaviyo is positioned based on all the different tech stack you might be using as well. Klaviyo will centralize all the different data you own about your customers, so you can use it in the different flow and automations then. Is it information about shipping, about reviews, about Facebook activities, about a loyalty program, all these different data you can track about one customer, bring into Klaviyo and build automations around it. So I gave you 2 examples here concretely of like things you can track about customers that would be your first party data, from where you can build automations based on this. So we have 2 tools we integrate with as examples. So Gorgeous, which is a customer support platform, and Loyalty Lion for loyalty programs. And here are some examples of events you can actually track about customers. Is it people that have opened ticket? Is it people that have a bad experience with the customer service? Is it people that have rewards available in their loyalty program? And based on these things, you know about those customers, you might want them to enter a specific path in your marketing automation. Do you want to push new products and a discount to people that have just reached the customer support because they want to give back their products and because they left maybe a really bad review about your brand? You probably don't want to spend money on them. So you want to also make it smooth and target like highest value customers. So the second one is because the more data you're going to put inside Klaviyo, the best your marketing automation will be. So you need to connect different events. So your e-commerce platform, so Magento, Shopify, PrestaShop, Shopware, any CMS you're using, different tech stack as we saw just before, Gorgeous, Loyalty Lion, any platforms you can use about your customers. And then you also need to collect emails, right? So another thing is inside Klaviyo, you can actually use forms that you can adapt in their format, but also in where you put them on the website and to who you show it on the website. Do you want to only make a form appear on the summer sales section on your website and show it only to people that have bought through the summer sales of last year, maybe? So that's things that you can do inside the platform. So you have multi-steps forms to ask specific questions sometimes to customers, to collect different data, pop-ups, embedded forms, flyout, form teasers, and then you can do A/B testing based on colors, the places you put it on the website, and to see overall the winning option. So to go on the different examples of segments and automations we can find on Klaviyo, I will show you some of them. The idea of this is to use automation to increase the lifetime value of a customer, okay? So we want customer to buy more on the website, and we have to think about that based on the different stages of the journey the customer is at. Is he a subscriber? Then I probably want to push him for first purchase or even for brand awareness at this stage. Is he a one-time buyer? Then I want to push him for repeat purchases. Is he a loyal customer already? Then I want to work around retention and maybe referral. Is he about to churn or has he churned already? And then I want to activate some automation to win the customer back and make sure we're increasing the value we might be bringing to the business. So the first flow and automation, and I'm gonna not spend too much time on this because it's the classic one, but anytime you receive an email from the Facebook form, from your own forms, you have to enter them into a welcome flow. So it gets to know your brand. So here we are building a specific automation flow for subscribers who have purchased 0 time and who are active at least 4 times in the last 30 days on the website. So this is a specific example of welcome flow to only active people on the website. Maybe you don't want to send too many emails for someone who is not engaged yet with the website. So in the next example, I'm going to show you another flow where I will explain you how it works a bit more in details. So if you look at the left side, this is inside the platform how a flow would look like. So at the top left, you have actually the darkest gray box called a trigger, which is where you put the condition where someone is going to enter the automation flow. So here, the trigger is when someone has viewed a product. And you can see in small just below, flow filter 14, you can actually add so many different filters based on their behavior on the website as well. This specific example of flow is based on split by category, meaning we want to adapt the email we are sending to prospects based on the category of products they've seen on the website. So you can see the 3 other darkest block. Category contains active workshop, and then the next one, men's shirt, and then the last one, men's bottom. Based on when the customer is going to enter and what product is seen, we're going to wait maybe 30 minutes, hour. You can change this very easily. And then you're going to send him a specific flow or email with a browse abandonment and show him specific products based on the category he's seen. If he's seen men's shirts, I want to send him recommendations of lots of different shirts I have on my website. And maybe you can include the best sellers automatically here in your email, so you make sure it's in those products. Any questions on this? It's going to be a bit more technical with the flows, but okay, we'll go on the next example then. Next example, site abandonment. So here we want to target site abandoners that are searching for deals or browsing really quickly. So you all have seen or probably done yourself, like you're ready for 2 hours of shopping, you're opening like maybe 5 different websites and you're just scrolling. You don't see yet any product that you're interested in, or you just keep scrolling the pages, but you're still active on the website. So here we can actually activate a specific flow. And then you see the trigger. Anyone who is entering this flow is someone active on the website. And the filters are never seen a product yet or clicked on a specific product page, didn't add anything to the cart, didn't start a checkout, and didn't place an order yet. So only the very active people that are scrolling on your website at the moment. Once they scroll, if they still didn't buy after 2 hours, you might want to send them something specific. So here the email is actually a site abandon email, checking for deals. Here they are. And maybe you can show specific products with specific discounts to make sure you push the sale. On to the next example. Guys, don't hesitate to throw any questions, even if you have any other ideas that pop up about the flows. We can probably tell you if it's possible or not to do it. Customer thank you. So here is an example for loyal customer. So in this example, the customer is told they can reach VIP status on their 5th purchase. And we want to build this automation based on this. So you see the first block at the top. People are entering this flow once they have placed an order. Wait 1 day, and then conditional split. So basically, based on the condition, people will take different paths inside the flow. And the condition is, as this person buy a bot more than 2 times. Equals 2 times, sorry. If that person has bought 2 times, yes, is going to the first line, the first path. Oh, thank you again, because it's the second time he's bought on the website. So we want to send something a bit more personalized to show him that we know he's came back and he's bought already before. And then we can even tag a specific update profile property to say this person is entering the category of the first repeat. So he's done already 2 purchases. Going back on the conditional split, if the answer is no, if the person has actually bought and then the other condition is as placed order equal 4 over all time, it means that they've bought 4 times and they are very close to the 5th time and to get to the VIP status, to get some discounts or some advantages. So yes, he's bought 4 times, we get into this. And then we send a specific email, you'll join our VIP club on your next purchase. And then you can tag in this profile almost VIP as a property. And the last line, once he's get to the 5th purchase, we want to activate some VIP status benefits. So we want to acknowledge first email is reached the VIP status unlocked. And then we can update his profile. And I think in the next example, actually that we didn't keep it, but basically once they have reached this type, you can even build flow based on, okay, is a customer VIP, maybe we want to do free delivery for them. And if they didn't validate their checkout or their basket, maybe we want to send them only to them a discount. So then you can work out different advantages for them. So far, so good. Any questions about the flow?
It's very, very, very powerful stuff. And those VIP flows really let the customer know that you're thinking of him. It feels very, very personalized, and we see good results when implementing this in our customers.
Yeah, exactly, and so many options to it. So we're gonna share actually in the next slide another option you can use to build your flow, and it's actually called the predictive analytics box inside Klaviyo. So this tool is based to understand the historic value of a customer and all the details about it, but also understand the predicted value of this customer. So if you see the box at the right and all the different things with the colors, you can see how much the customer has spent on the website so far and what is the overall value. So you would get that on all the customers if you have enough data about each profile. So here, this customer has spent $1,178 overall since, let's say, September 2016. And all the black bars that you see overall is the different dates he actually made a purchase, the different moments he's made a purchase. So we can see it's much closer actually on the last year as well. And then you see the predicted value. So here, for the next year, we are expecting this customer to buy for $363 and make about 5.2 orders. Okay. So we see below as well the different metrics. You can see the total customer lifetime value. So how much the customer has bought on your website since he's a customer. Churn risk prediction, 11%. So here, this customer specifically is not in a high risk of churn because he's making a lot of purchase on the website. What if a customer last year has bought 5 times on your website, but in 2022 has bought only 1 time? Then he's going to enter a churn risk prediction a bit higher than that. It might be like 70% of churn risk, maybe, all right? And then once you reach this number, you can also activate specific flow to win back those customers, maybe sending them a discount. Then you have the average time between orders, 62 days here, and the average order value. So that's all the different metrics you can use for flows, and we're going to see in the next slide an example of what you can use. Here is another flow, another flow, like marketing automation flow that we use expected next order with a replenishment flow. So here the trigger is persons are going to enter this flow if their expected date of next order is coming up. So let's say you have a website with facial cream, and depending on the product they send, so you can actually target, you can separate that in Klaviyo as well. People that have bought 100 milliliters cream versus 200 milliliters cream. And then you can say, oh, those customers after 1 month, they're going to run out, or this segment after 3 months, they're going to run out. You want to send them reminders to buy another cream because you know they run out. And maybe you want to show them different creams, new ones that you have. So that's a perfect flow for it. Now, the difference is with automation, you don't need to calculate yourself when the next purchase is going to be. The system is going to understand it for you. So if this customer is buying cream and the system has recorded that he is buying cream every 60 days on your website, system is going to understand that and put his next order purchase in the next 60 days. And then he's going to just enter this flow, and then you can show him something specifically. So here there is a split with SMS or email if the person prefers communication with SMS. But the overall idea of this flow is really to make sure people are not forgetting about your brand and not going to another brand to change facial cream in this example. Last but not least, we're going to see also the best practices in terms of audiences with Meta, with Google as well, and we're going to go back on the forms. So just going back on the integrations with Meta and Google Ads for Klaviyo, you might say, yes, I have data about my customers, but I had it from maybe, I don't know, CRM that I can download a list and just upload it on Facebook. And that's probably what you might have done before, just uploading a list of customers. Having an integration between two platforms is very different because you can create a segment inside Klaviyo, for example, where you're going to only segment VIPs or people that have the highest value on the last year, and you're going to match it inside Facebook. So the segment in Klaviyo is going to become an audience in Facebook. Now, what if the customers are spending more on the last 6 months that they used to spend maybe a year ago? So it means the value of those customers and maybe the behavior of those customers, the profile of these customers has changed. And if you have a segment that is integrated inside Klaviyo to Facebook, people are coming inside the flow and the segment all the time. So people are changing inside the segment. And this is automatically sync inside Facebook. As opposed to if you download a list, let's say the list of customer you have on the year 2022, you might have lower profile and higher profile in that. And if you upload it, it's never going to change. The system inside Facebook is going to match this behavior, but it's not going to take in consideration that maybe the profile has changed and focus more on those. So syncing segments is better because the profile are synced automatically if like different changes appears on your website based on your customer, if they're spending more, etc. So here there are so many examples. Two I want to stress on maybe will be, let's take the lookalikes. So the one at the bottom. So this one we saw inside Klaviyo that you can differentiate your customer based on so many different actions that they've done on your website. If you're looking at the predictive box, you can just target people that have the most frequent purchase on your website, or you can target people that have bought the most on your website and have the highest basket on your website. Segment them, create a specific audience in Facebook, and get the lookalikes of those. So you can use better audiences inside Facebook and make sure you're reaching the best people for you. Another example.
Exactly. Sorry, Sarah. We really, for example, when the client is already on Klaviyo, for us it's so much nicer to work with the client and to advertise for them, because what we needed to do in the past was constantly every couple of months upload or update the client list for past customer targeting, stuff like that. And now it's just with the synchronization, it's always up to date. It's always automatically filling in new customers that are added to the list. So really powerful stuff there.
Yeah, automatic. So yeah, that's really like you're saving a lot of time, in fact. And the segmentations are stronger as well. It's a bit deeper, so you can make more changes. Another example would be the cross-sell, for example. If you want to target people that have bought one product specifically, so with that you can attach, the property we see earlier on the profile of a customer based on the category he's bought. So easy buyer for shirts or pants usually, etc. And then if he is in the segment of people that have bought shirts, you can take this segment, put it inside Facebook, and push them for bottoms, maybe because they've bought shirts and they would need bottom. So that's a classic example, but basically you can work out your cross-sell that way. Now we're going to go onto the forms. So we've talked about that before with David, and we know that's going to be a format that is going to be pushed more and more in Facebook as well to collect some data. So the first tip is to connect the Facebook leads ads to a list inside Klaviyo. So every email you're going to get from your form in Facebook is going to go inside Klaviyo, and then we can make the person enter a specific flow based on is it coming from Facebook? So, hey, you've seen this ad, etc., or based on which form on Facebook is filled. So you can personalize the experience. And here we see in this specific flow, so the trigger people are entering when someone filled out a lead, and you can see there is a filter, and the filter is and the ad equals and a number. So meaning this is a specific flow with an email we want to send to people that have been filling a specific form. So you might have different forms in your campaigns in Facebook based on maybe, I don't know, Black Friday form or a specific sales form, etc. And here you want to target only those that have come back to this specific ad. And then you have also another way to clear up the audiences that you are using inside your forms. So we were saying earlier with David that sometimes the leads that we're getting from the forms on Facebook are not the best quality, or they could be better. And a way is actually to use segments inside Klaviyo, like let's say your highest value segment, to get it inside Facebook, to get lookalikes and to push your forms only to these specific lookalikes. So you can make sure that the system is matching the best behaviors online. So the best potential customer for you. Guillaume, I saw your question. I will just go back to it after with Tsvet. But basically with the conditional split, you can also use like split based on is the customer international, so you can actually change languages inside the flows. But typically for big accounts as well, we tend to have like different Klaviyo accounts for different countries. So it really depends what is your setup. Okay, and then we're going to go on the Google Ads piece, which is, to be honest, very, very similar to what you can do on Facebook. It's the same way of thinking about it. I just want to add different examples here so you have a bit more for yourself. So one would be similar to VIPs, so you can create custom audience in Google and get similar audiences. And then the lapse customer churn predictive. So I told you that before, like if anyone is reaching 70% or more of churn risk, you can add this audience inside Google and push them some specific ads if you want to, with specific discounts as well. You can do that through emails as well, of course, but sometimes it's also nice to change the channel because some prospect would be more sensitive to an ad on Google versus an email. Okay, so it just depends the profile. And then exclude recent customers. So you are already probably doing this in Google, like exclude the purchaser of the last 30 days, etc. Here with Klaviyo, you can go a bit deeper into that. Do you want to exclude customers of a long time? Do you want to exclude only customers that have not repeat purchase at all? Do you want to exclude specific to Black Friday, for example? Do you want to exclude people that have bought on the last 3 days if Black Friday has already started? We all know how expensive sometimes ads can be during the Black Friday time. And if people have been already on your website, for example, on the Monday, and they've bought something with a Black Friday discount, you want to take them straight away from the campaigns you're doing on Google or on Facebook, because you're going to spend more money on them and they are less likely to buy again during the Black Friday on your website. So that's different exclusion segments you could work out as well for your brand. And that's it on my side. Any other questions, maybe from the audience?
Indeed. Before we go into the Black Friday, Cyber Monday bonus section, I saw Guillaume already had a question. Indeed.
Yeah.
Language is a tricky one, huh, Sarah?
Yeah. We just mentioned it earlier. Maybe Tsvet or David, you want to add something, but depends of the volume, depends of if you have lots of countries, you might have different accounts on Klaviyo. Like it really depends that.
Yeah. I think if you have one site for all the countries, for all the languages, you should be gathering language data as soon as you can. So in the checkout, on the pop-up forms, wherever you can add that tag on which language they use, start integrating it, because then if you have it, you can basically segment an audience and then adjust your campaigns and your flows based on that language tag. If you don't have it, and if you already have a big customer base, then you can set up some like campaigns that you're sending out automatically every 6 months to ask your list and the people on the list who have not filled in the language tag to fill it in. So you have a preference page with Klaviyo where you can add information that people can adjust, such as birthday, language. So you can customize it and you can ask your list to fill it in to make sure that they are getting their communication in the language they prefer. But it's not super straightforward, especially if you haven't been collecting it from the beginning. Yeah. All right. Yeah, and this Google Ads integration here of Klaviyo, it just recently, 3 weeks ago, it popped up, I think, which is great. Huh? So now we can also indeed make those custom segments, use it in our Google Ads, and very interesting stuff. All right, just have a look. Yes, so as promised, we're gonna have a little section on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, possibly the biggest time of the year in online sales. As you can see here, this is a little gift from the United States, how people react to it. Of course, it would be great if we can have the same effect on our online stores this year. So a little recap, it's the most important time of Q4 in terms of online sales, conversion rates spike. And this year goes together with our challenges. The people are even more price sensitive. So we really see that with all our brands, all the flash sales or reductions that we've ran in the past were very, very, very effective. So people really reacted better to it than our general advertising than buying stuff at normal prices in regards to how they've been reacting to it in the past years. We see that behavior becoming more prevalent even more at this time. So we really saw, like, the beginning of September was really not good for online fashion and lifestyle, and we're expecting people to push their purchases now even more to November and the latter part of Q4. So it's gonna be big. Now we do know that a lot of brands don't necessarily like it because it's crazy sales, this and that, and it's not always on brand for every brand. But even if you don't do it, still think of a way where you can make a communication strategy that's layered, a communication strategy that's layered, even if you're not doing a Black Friday sale or offer. People will react to it. Your past customers will find it charming that you have a different viewpoint on it, and they will buy from you as well. But the thing here is, you really need to stay top of mind. If you want sales in that period, you do need to stay top of mind in a certain way, because all the other brands are going to be flooding everybody with messaging, and you will be flooded as well if you don't also do something. So that's a little takeaway on that. If you are doing a Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal or a flash sale or whatever you want to call it, then there's a strategy to go about it to make the most out of it. And we formulated it into a 3-step strategy with a build-up phase, a warm-up phase, and the actual sale phase. If you look at the build-up, what's the goal here? It's to grow your marketing foundations. As you can see, the image it's a wall building its foundation to make your communication pie as big as possible. We've seen the funnel earlier. The goal here is really to make your funnel as big as possible, get in as many people on the top, make your middle of the funnel as big as possible, make your customer list as big as possible as well, because those will be the audiences to which we're going to be communicating down the line once the sale gets closer. So this period already kind of started, so it's now until the middle of October. Grow your funnel size, your top of the funnel, your warm, your PC, just your regular funnel advertising activities, and as well grow your organic and your email list. As said, your usual funnel lead generation. Here the goal really is to grow your pie. Then in the warm-up, so if you're gonna run an offer, the goal is to get people to make them aware that something is coming up. So make sure that people are aware that something is coming up and get them in the best seat to take action once the sale is actually going to happen. So that communication should start mid of October, beginning of November, depending on if you're going to do a pre-sale as well. So some brands already start in November doing a pre-sale before Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We see it less with European brands. It's something very American, but it does work. People are already in a higher conversion rate state of mind, so it does work. But the goal here for the warm-up period is to get existing customers, newsletter subscribers, and people that are not on your list yet, is to get them on an early bird list. So the messaging there is sign up and be the first to know or get a day early access to our sale once it happens, because stocks are limited. You'll want to have access to the nicest pieces the first. So get your existing list on it, get your warm people on that list, and make sure that that early bird list is as big as possible. How can we do that? We can make pop-ups or embedded forms with Klaviyo. So you would change your existing pop-up to a pop-up that mentions the early bird list, and you show it to all the people that visit your site. We should run lead generation campaigns on Facebook, Instagram, and all the platforms to gather leads that are then synchronized to your list using Klaviyo. And then on-platform campaigns, with that I mean you should be sending out email campaigns to your existing newsletter to tell them that they should subscribe to that early bird list, just to get top of mind with them as well, and to get them to be in that seat to take action. A little example of a flow that you can set up after they sign up for the early bird list, and you can see it here. When somebody subscribes to the early bird list, they get an email, you're in. Then depending on when you set this into action, you can make it that they get emails just before the actual Black Friday sale, just to keep them top of mind, or to keep your brand top of mind and the sale top of mind. Then the actual sale. So the goal here is to make your business prosper during high conversion rate times. So period is, of course, end November or mid-November. If you do a pre-sale, you're going to be targeting your entire warm audience base, your existing customers, and your email subscribers. And I'm not necessarily mentioning top of the funnel people here, because my point number 2, sorry, it started re-recording all of a sudden, is that to shift your budgets from top of the funnel to warm. So what we preach is that you're always spending about 80% to 70% to acquisition, new people that haven't been in contact with your brand yet, and then 30 to 20% to remarketing to what your warm audiences, to your past customers. When you're in a sale period, you need to flip it on its head, because sale periods are often shorter in time, and you need to be reaching everybody in your warm audiences, your customer list, and all that. So it's shifting the budgets. Point number 1, if you haven't already, is really you need to decide on your pricing strategy. And the goal is not to be competing with the highest percentage off, 70, 80, 90%. You're only killing your margins and killing your brand that way. You need to be creating interesting offers, and interesting offers that increase that increase the average order value for your brand. So you can make bundle offers. If they buy 2, they get a percentage off. They get a percentage off if they buy over a certain amount, or get free shipping over a certain amount. So really think about your pricing strategy in order to make it as interesting for your brand as possible, while still giving a cool offer. Then important here as well is multi-channel marketing during this period. You want to be remarketing on Facebook, Instagram, Google, TikTok, wherever you can, with the messaging, with your sale messaging, of course. And then if you have the possibility, if your web shop platform offers that, it's always a good idea to have upsells. There can be upsells in the cart. It can be an upsell after they made a purchase. So your question there, Randy, will answer it in a bit. After they made a purchase. And then in a very important tip, and something that people don't always implement, is get people to buy twice during the sale. So let's say you have a pre-sale before Black Friday, you have a Black Friday sale, and then you have something in December as well. You could set up a flow that identifies somebody that bought in Black Friday and then automatically sends them an email when you, let's say, have a couple sale, like a buy two, get 20% off. A lot of brands do that in December. Get them automatically, send them an automatic message that this sale is also going on. If they've bought from you during Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, there's a high probability that they will also take action on the second sale. And my last point is, don't be afraid to communicate a lot. You can send a lot of campaign emails during these sale periods because people make last minute decisions. They often look at a lot of brands that are having sales, open a lot of tabs, do a lot of research, and then make their decision in the last minutes of the sale during the last day of the sale. So if you're not there, top of mind during the last minute of the sale, you have a probability that somebody forgets about you and makes their purchase somewhere else. So that was our 3-step strategy on how to win Black Friday, Cyber Monday. First, if we go back, building your audience, you should be doing that year round. And once the sales coming closer, get them on an early bird. And once the sales actually there, flip your budgets and really work on your existing warm audience, your past customers, and send them a lot of emails and think about the pricing strategy, go for higher average order values, and prosper. Yeah, so that's what we can give you away for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I saw there were some questions there from Randy. Should we focus on AOV so we don't kill our margins? Exactly, yeah. Oh. That is correct, yeah. Indeed, it's not necessary to, especially if you have a brand and people like your products, they will be happy with any type of offer. And if you can give them more value for, let's say, a bundle offer, then that will work for them as well. And your business will actually, indeed, your margins will not be killed. So that's a tip that we do give away there. Yeah.
And also to just use your segments, right? Like if you're able to get communication to the customers that have the highest average purchase. There was one example in Klaviyo as well, but like definitely try to get more of those even through the lookalikes, but just really targeting people that tend to just buy more in their basket in general. And you can even do the reverse, target people that have a lower average basket than the one you wish, to try to push them cross sales. So you can try to.
Indeed. Exactly. So that was a roundup a little bit. We have a summarizing slide. So what we talked about during this webinar was the changing forces in the marketplace. We're not in an easy place necessarily, but if you adapt the way you look at advertising, if you adapt your or if you put some of these tips that we've mentioned into place, the 5 tips we've mentioned, then you should be able to stay on top, focus on the copy, the creative, think about customer lifetime value and media efficiency rate if you make high-level budget decisions, and then put something into place where you can have the power to have that first-party data. We really promote Klaviyo because it's for e-commerce. It's like the #1 tool. It integrates with everything, very easy to work with, and yeah, it gives you power over your first-party data. Feed it into the advertising platforms, and then, of course, Sarah gave some explanation about the different flows you can set up and the power of Klaviyo. And at the end, we talked about how you can win Black Friday, Cyber Monday by having a 3-pronged approach. So if there's any questions additionally to anything we talked about, I think now is the perfect time to discuss that. So, of course, Randy already asked a question. Thanks for that.